What's up, guys? I'm Mr. Styles, and welcome to part 1 of 2 of videos delving into the lore and history of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Not only will understanding the lore give us more immersion into the world, but we'll also point out some likely key players and raid bosses maybe for future content. A side note, I will be using the abbreviation IH, which stands for Ithorbrun Heelen, which is the marker for the event when the dragons disappeared. That's when 0IH happened. Without further ado, let's once again butcher some names and talk some Pantheon. In the beginning, God created... Wait, that's the wrong story. Earliest recorded history we have on Terminus is that there were two kingdoms of dragons, the air dragons called the Rivalrine, and the sea dragons called the Solkramain. The sea dragons were defeated by the air dragons, and following that victory, Rock Nilthamos, the son of the leader of the victorious air dragons, killed his own father to be crowned ruler of both kingdoms. He ruled for 1,000 years, and then, in what's now dated the year 0IH, the dragons retreated into seclusion, leaving the realm for unknown reasons, and with no clue if they would ever return again. Some describe this as some sort of deep hibernation. Shortly following that comes the arrival of the first three races of Terminus. The best way to describe and understand the realms these races come from and how that relates to Terminus is by thinking about the Thor movies. In those movies, all the different realms are all connected through space and time. That seems similar to how things are done here. In 7IH, we have the arrival of the dwarves, who established their city of Kadasa on the continent of Whitethal. They are ruled by Kaza, who was a dwarf god who gave up his immortality and descended to rule and guide his people as a high mortal, and has been for now 900 years. In 9IH, the elves arrive and establish a home at Fairthal on the continent of King's Reach. In 12IH, the ogres arrive and soon after found the ogre capital of the Broken Maw. Between 13IH and 23IH, Clan Lord Rothik of the Black Moon Ogres acquires all of the many powerful tombs held by the other ogre clans by defeating them and crowning himself king. The tombs corrupt the king, and he abdicates his throne and disappears. This leads us to an era called the Age of Seclusion, a time where the three cultures were mainly just handling their own business. Through this time, the ogres are in constant wars against the native people of Rainfall called the Woschche, but the major happenings of this era have to do with the arrival of the Gento race. Arriving on Terminus in around 450 IH, their world was destroyed by something described as the Eyeless Eclipse, but also it mortally wounded the Gento god Aitero. Aitero's god bride, Janavi, tried to preserve his existence by descending him to a high mortal. This had a negative effect on Aitero, who's now known as the Ravaging Lord, and it led him to corrupting many of the Gento into a vicious, senseless, and wild people called the Revenant. His god bride Janavi sacrificed herself in 455 IH to install the remaining Gento with a protection from this corruption. These Gento became known as the Remnant. A battle ensues, and the Ravaging Lord and his Revenant are defeated and retreat to Mount Holther in East Rainfall. The remaining remnant establish an outpost at nearby Olam's Hill to watch for his return. In 458 IH, the Mir arrived from the planet Issel, whose oceans were dying, but the Mir's bodies weren't compatible with the hostile environment of Terminus's ocean. Nythir and Sirenai, Mir deities, sacrificed their godhood and subsequently their existence to transform the Mir's bodies to adapt to the new conditions. The Nythirian Red, vanguards of the god Nythirian, slayed the weakened goddess Sirenai because they were angry that she had in their minds violated their bodies. The Nythirian Red then disappeared into the sea, searching for a means to return to their true form. The agony of losing their gods poisoned the Mir's hearts, consuming them with bitterness and hate. The Dark Mir then found the city of Sirenai's Rest to pay homage to their goddess. The end of the Age of Seclusion is marked by the arrival of the Archaea in 458 IH, who settle on the island of Suroa. The humans then arrived during what's called the Cursed Frost, starting in 459 IH. With the help of the elves, they survived the weather and found a city to call their own, Havensong. That very year, their king, Amonsal, and his queen welcomed their firstborn son, Avendir, as heir. That concludes part 1 of 2 of the history and lore of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Tune in next time to hear the rest of the story. I appreciate everybody listening. Please leave comments below and anything I might have missed. Thanks a lot.